Hey everyone, how is it going? Welcome to the first NFL Draft Sleepers video of the 2023 season. There will be more to come in the future, so stay posted. In this video, I'm going to be going over my top 5 underrated prospects. This will be based off my grade and their consensus rank. Now these aren't all going to be my most underrated, but it's mainly to give a little shout out to some guys that I don't think are getting the love they deserve. Starting with number 5, I have Devon Achane. Now I graded him at 7.6 overall, which has him sitting at the number 15 overall prospect spot on my big board, and the number 2 running back. I'm all in on Achane. Obviously his speed is ridiculous, he's a legitimate 4.2 speed guy, and I honestly think he can run the fastest 40 of any position at the combine this week. But it's much more than speed with him. Many people think he's just speed, but he's a legitimate very high-end receiving back as well. He catches almost everything, and he has that ability to make a man miss or just run past anyone on the field. But most people would agree with that. The main thing I see different is the way he's able to bounce off tackles. He has great balance, and the weakness everyone points to is his blocking, but I think he's a good blocker. Maybe not a great pass blocker, but he can block well in the run game if he has a mobile quarterback. And finally, the most shocking thing of all, he can break tackles. He's not a fullback, but he can still offer some of that power game in short yardage situations if he's asked to. I think he's a much more complete back than many people would give him credit for. At number 4, he's a much more polarizing player. While he is at the top of many people's boards, some think he's wildly overrated, and that player is Bryan Bresee. With a whopping 8.7, Bryan Bresee is the number 6 player on my board overall, and the number 2 defensive tackle just behind Jalen Carter, of course. Now originally, I actually had Bresee as my number 1 defensive tackle over Carter. Even though that eventually changed, I fell in love with Bresee's tape right away, and I'm still a huge fan. At 6'5", 305 pounds, Bresee profiles more as a 3-tech. So what does he bring as a 3-tech? One word: power. He brings a level of power that isn't matched by many prospects out there, while still maintaining the athleticism. He's not always trying to get off blocks, but that's because he's quickly pushing his linemen, sometimes more than one, into the lap of the quarterback to collapse the pocket completely. In the run game, he's a really good tackler and is one of the very few D linemen in general, who make tackles in pursuit on the running backs. Now he does have some injury issues, and obviously his stats were underwhelming this past year, but I truly believe what I saw from him will translate to a top 10 caliber player in this draft. Moving on to number 3, we have Hendon Hooker. Now Hooker has some unfortunate issues that will ruin his draft stock. Being 25, coming off a torn ACL, and playing in a non-pro style offense at Tennessee, all things he couldn't control that will affect his draft stock. But when I'm evaluating a player, I don't like to include injuries, age, or off-field issues in their grade, especially when I don't have all the information. So with that being said, age and his injury were not taken into account when he was given this grade. With a 7.4, Hooker was actually my number 3 graded quarterback in this class. I do think some people know that this dude's a baller, but I truly believe that he offers a similar type of realistic ceiling as Levis and Richardson. The most fluid runner in the draft, I thought he was 5'10" until I saw him running over people, and then I realized he's 6'4", running like a running back. From the pocket, he's a very accurate passer. The ball placement is a little inconsistent, but it isn't a huge concern. He's a solid processor, a very smart player, and he knows how to go through his reads. My main concern is his footwork on the run. He lets his mechanic go out the window when he's on the run, and as a result, it ends up with inaccurate passes fairly often. His arm might not be as strong as Richardson's, but he does have a cannon. He can zip balls into tight windows and throw downfield with ease. He's also fairly comfortable throwing with touch. But my favorite thing about Hooker is inside his helmet. He's a truly intelligent, mature player and a natural leader. His teammates and coaches rave about his mental more than they do his physical, which says a lot concerning how athletic he is. Moving on to number 2, a player that I absolutely love, and it's Marvin Mims. Many people have him as a 3rd to 4th round wide receiver, but with a 7.0 grade, he's an early 2nd rounder on my board. He's my wide receiver 6 overall, and I truly believe in his potential to be a starting wide receiver at the NFL level. The main concern people have with him is his size. At 5'11", 177, he is a much thinner player, and we don't see the skinny wide receivers working out too often, although Devontae Smith might be paving the way for a new generation. Mims has electrifying speed, he's one of the fastest receivers in the class, and he seems to have unrealized potential. Despite his size, Mims played on the outside for much of his college career, and he has the mentality of a 6'3" receiver. He's always throwing blocks in the run game and going up for the jump balls. And to be honest, he's pretty damn good at both. He can be an effective run blocker and he can win the jump balls really well. Oklahoma didn't have the mindset of just getting the ball in his hands and letting him make plays the way many schools do these days, and I think that hurt his draft stock because teams didn't get to see just how shifty he is. He's really solid after the catch, he can break tackles and make guys miss. I do believe he should be a high priority guy for teams to target at early day 2 of the draft. And my number 1 most underrated prospect in this class, with an incredible 9.0 grade tied with 2 other players as my second highest grade in this draft, it's Antonio Johnson out of Texas A&M. Now, I'm sure you're thinking immediately, wow, this guy's a Texas A&M fan. He's way too high on 2 of their players, which it's not true. I don't care about Texas A&M. Their team is not good, but A-Chain and especially Johnson look like complete studs to me. So why does this guy, most people don't even have their number 1 safety show up as my second highest graded player? Well, he does everything. When I watch him run, I think he's 5'11", and then I watch him tackle, and I remember that he's 6'3". He has legit high-end speed and great coverage skills. He's able to hang with anyone, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends in coverage, and on top of that, he has really nice ball skills, constantly able to knock the ball away or get the interception without drawing penalties. He's also very persistent and effective in the run game. He has a nose for the football and always wants to do it when the ball is handed off. He's not standing back to be safe. He's charging in to not let the ball get an extra yard. The main knock is his weight. At only 200 pounds, he is a little light and can struggle to get off blocks sometimes. Then again, that's not really an issue that's even brought up with most safeties. The dude is on a different level. I have to go out of my way to find weaknesses. When I look at him, I really think what people thought Kyle Hamilton would be early in the draft process. Thank you for watching. More videos to come. Stay posted.